Hello, my reading friends, and welcome back to the Jane Austen Literacy Foundation. My name is Melissa. I am the community manager, and I thought today we would hang out and I will share with you my massive library haul pile that I have here. Just wanted to talk about my love for the library. I grew up going to the library so much as a kid. We didn't have too many books at home that we owned, but we were constantly at the library. Now, mind you, this was the late 80s, and we would ride our bikes a few miles into the city, my mom, my brother, and I, and we didn't have air conditioning at home, and the library had the cranked up AC where you like instantly walk in and you feel like you're freezing, but it felt so good on a hot summer day. We would grab a bunch of books. We always had time for browsing. I remember exactly where the Babysitter Club and Sweet Valley High books were at. Boxcar Children, they had all the good series there, and we would have time to just browse and see what caught our interest. We would head up to the desk where the very grumpy librarian that we had in our small town was sitting with his feet propped up on the desk, leaning back as if he did not want to be checking out books for any reason, but he would always accommodate us. And off to the side was the card catalogs where we would occasionally search things up. I just have so many fond memories of the library, and I still love the library to this day. They have adapted so much. The library is amazing. I was talking to my neighbor about going to the library, and she said she had never been before, but I know that she does enjoy reading. So I was letting her know how you are able to get a library card online, and you can even check out ebooks so you don't have to visit the library itself. Now, I am just talking from personal experience with my library system here in the US. I would love it if you have insight into library systems around the world. And we're going to get this little guy comfy. Stay right there, Taff. Okay, he's going to join us for the video. He is also loves to cozy up and read. But let me know your library experience. Do you have a good local library? Do you have a small library and you're not able to get able to access as many books? I am very fortunate. We live near Columbus, Ohio, and we are able to request books from our whole entire library system. So bear that in mind as we're going through this stack, because I warn you, it is massive. But I'm able to request from all over the place. And sometimes I find, because I'm such a mood reader, I like to have a stack of books available on hand. I do also use them for my job. I need to have them to reference and to be looking at. And so it is an ever evolving pile of books with things coming and going. But I am very nosy. I love to see what other people are reading, and I thought maybe you would like a glimpse into what I have from the library and what I would like to read as well. So let me know down in the comments if you are interested in me making this a regular video, because I always have things coming and going. I can also share what my family is reading if that's something of interest to you, because they read different genres than I do. But I thought I would kind of break this up by genre, and then I will try to leave timestamps down below. So if you are only interested in one particular genre, you can skip to that. And why don't you go ahead and grab yourself a beverage, because I am warning you, this might take a little while, but hopefully it will be entertaining for you. And let's get right into it. So the first little stack that I put together is kind of a mix-up of books. I am on a mission to read a few more of the classics. I've really been enjoying Tristan in the Classics videos. I've been rewatching some of his old ones. They are fantastic, and he's really inspired me to check out some classics because they are classics for a reason. But I get very intimidated when I see this big old chunky book and I know that it is going to take a long time to get through, and then I just feel overwhelmed and I never start. So I want to start small, and one of the books that I was most intrigued is The Great Gatsby. It's pretty slim, and I always like seeing a connection in the books that I'm reading. So it says he was born in St. Paul, Minnesota. We lived in Minnesota for a short time and really enjoyed our time there. So I thought it would be interesting to give this one a try. Also, let me know, are any of the films worth watching? I'm really intrigued. I haven't done it yet. I feel like I probably should read the book first. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about The Great Gatsby below. If you have any recommendation also for any smaller classics that you really enjoy for someone that is just kind of getting into the classics, I would appreciate your insight. The next book that I have, whoa, if you can see it, is The Awakening of Miss Prim. This one kind of caught my eye when I was searching online and going on a rabbit trail of jumping from book to book to book. But it is about a young woman. She accepts the post of private librarian in the village of, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. But it says her employer, a book-loving intellectual, is dashing yet contrarian, always ready with a critique of her cherished Jane Austen and Louisa May Alcott. So I think it's kind of not quite a coming of age, but a coming into your own sort of book. I have never seen this listed anywhere before. I don't really know much about it, but it caught my eye. So this is one of those books that I would grab as a mood reader and just see if the timing is right, and I end up grabbing it at some point. Next up, I have the Jane Austen's Lost Letters. This one really caught my eye. I grabbed it for Jane Austen July is when I'm holding this off to read it. And it is allergy season here, so please forgive me if I'm itching my nose here. But it says Jane K. Cleland returns with Jane Austen's Lost Letters, the 14th installment in the beloved Josie Prescott antique series set on the rugged New Hampshire coast. And if I remember correctly from the blurb, her father has passed away. A mystery woman brings a box of letters and she opens it up and it says, Dear Fanny, Dear Cassandra. So she recognizes that these are letters from Jane Austen. She's trying to track down the woman who left her these letters that were from her deceased father. And there's a bit of mystery going on with that. So found this to be a very intriguing premise. I'm really excited to read that. All right, next up I have great short books a year of reading briefly. This kind of plays into the concept that I was talking about, wanting to explore the classics a bit more. The reason I thought this was a really interesting book is it breaks up, it gives you the book, has lots of different options for you to check out, and then it gives you the first lines. It tells you a little bit about the author, gives you a plot summary, why you should read it, and what to read next. And so it's about 3-4-ish pages for each book. And this, I wanted to check it out first from the library and see what I think of it. But this could be a great one, I think, to purchase and have on my shelf for years to come. We will see what comes of that. All right, the next two books that I have are kind of again, sort of finding yourself sort of theme, but we have main character energy. This one says Poppy Banks would rather be writing mysteries than writing listicles at her dead-end job at Thought Buzz. It's kind of her coming into her own as a writer, and it says Poppy must decide if she can live up to her aunt's and her own desire to be the main character in her own life. I think this was one of those books that caught my eye on an end cap at the library, and I thought it would be one to see if I end up grabbing. The next is The Banned Bookshop by The Banned Bookshop of Maggie Banks. This one says, I, Maggie Banks, solemnly swear to uphold the rules of Cobblestone Books. If only I, Maggie Banks, cared about following the rules. So it seems like she has a bit of a secret underground book club of banned books going on, small town setting. Book rules are made to be broken. Maggie will have to decide what's more important, the books that formed a small town's history or the stories posed to change it all. This was a staff pick at my local library and it caught my eye. So that kind of wraps up the miscellaneous section here. Next, I will dive into historical fiction that I have from the library. I warned you, this is not going to be a short video. Let's see how many is in this stack. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books for historical fiction. So hold tight. All right, first up, we have Unsinkable. This story caught my eye because I really enjoy stories about the Titanic, and we just read A Dress of Violet Taffeta by Tessa Ireland, and Tessa Arlen. And it is no spoiler, it tells you in the blurb that Lady Duff Gordon was on the Titanic and survived along with her husband. This book is inspired by the true story of Violet Jessup and the 39 women of the Special Operations Executive. Two unsinkable women, two stories of survival, family, and finding one's own happiness. One connection that reshapes both their lives forever. And I think I came across this when I was doing research for A Dress of Violet Taffeta, and this came up as a recommended read. And it seemed really interesting. So I'm excited to get to this at some point. Next up, I have never seen anyone talk about this book. And I sometimes think some gems can fall through the cracks. This one caught my eye because it says, in the summer of, I didn't tell you the title. It's Light Changes Everything, just in case you can't see that. It says, it's the summer of 1907 and the sun is scorching down on Mary Pearl Prine in the Arizona Territory. Mary Pearl and her sister Esther take their minds off the heat by sneaking banned Jane Austen novels from Aunt Sarah Eliot's lively bookshelf. Whispered read-alouds preoccupy their nights, and reveries of getting hitched to their own Mr. Darcy a la Pride and Prejudice swirl through their daydreams. I instantly wanted to read this book, so I find it really interesting because we don't see as many books set in that 1907 time period as I would like. I love that kind of Edwardian time period, and I am here for it. So if anyone has any connections to publishers, please tell us to give us more of that. And I just loved the thought of picturing these two sisters sneaking Pride and Prejudice off of their aunt's bookshelf. And I'm excited to see how that plays out into this greater story. If you have read this book, please let me know about it in the comments because I have not seen anyone talk about it. And I'm really curious and I have high hopes. Next up, we have The Lions of Fifth Avenue, Fiona Davis. Now, I am going to tell you a secret. Please don't shame me for it. I have not yet read a Fiona Davis book, and I have to recommend that. I have to. Words are hard. I need another cup of coffee today. I have to correct that in 2024. Why is it when you're talking about books so much, sometimes words escape you when you're holding so many words in your hand? But it says, an internationally best-selling author, Fiona Davis's latest historical novel, a series of book thefts roil the iconic New York Public Library, leaving two generations of strong-willed women to pick up the pieces. So this is definitely going to be read this year. Next, we have, we'll put it up here, In Service to the Queen, Tessa Arlen. She talked about this in our book club meetup that we had. I was really intrigued with it. I loved her writing in A Dress of Violet Taffeta. I was excited when I heard about her talking about what it was like to write this book as well. It is about the governess to Princess Elizabeth and Margaret at the time, and her wanting to get married and putting that off because of her duties to the royal family. Elizabeth meeting Philip and the hand that she had played in that. So yeah, this is something I'm really excited to get to. If you enjoy reading books and then getting to meet the authors, hear a little bit about what happened behind the writing of a book, then I would highly recommend checking out our Patreon community. We have our guest authors that come and talk to us about the books that we're reading. You get to vote for the books that we're reading for our book club. Like I said, we've had Tessa Arlen coming up. We are reading right now Remarkable Creatures for the month of June when I am filming this. And we will be having Tracy Chevalier coming and speaking with us about her books. And I know she has so many that are loved by a lot of people. So I'm sure that she will talk to us about some of her other books that she has written as well. If that's something that's interesting to you, I told you I'm having a hard time with words today, then I will leave the link down in the description box below. Next, we have The Letter Tree by Rachel Fordham. This will be a reread for me. I actually read an arc of this last year when it came out, and I absolutely adored this book. It is described as Romeo and Juliet meets You Got Mail, and I was sold by that description. Again, set in 1924, so a little bit outside of the typical either like Regency or Civil War or World War II time periods. Really fascinating book. I think that there is something unique about the reading experience. So I read this as an ebook, and I wanted to experience the book as a paperback or hardcover. The library happened to have a paperback. Let me know if you understand what I mean when I say, because I feel like when you put it into words, it sounds really strange, but let me know if you feel like the medium changes your reading experience or listening experience, whatever it might be. Or I am just alone in that one. All right, next is an author who I have not read yet, but I have seen so many people recommending, and that is Amy Harmon, A Girl Called Samson. I adore this cover. I just think it is gorgeous. And this one is set in 1760. It says Deborah Sampson is born to Puritan parents in Plimpton, Massachusetts. When her father abandons the family and her mother is unable to support them, Deborah is bound out as an indentured servant. From that moment on, she yearns for a life of liberation and adventure. I believe she then goes on to disguise herself as a man and enlist in the Revolutionary War. I'm very curious to read this one. And I also grabbed one other Amy Harmon book, and that was The Outlaw Noble Salt. This is a book about Butch Cassidy connected to a woman named Jane. And it says, if they set forth on their journey, Butch's past and Jane's secrets put them at risk from threats far greater than the law. This legend of the American West will have to decide what matters most, his life, his legacy, or the woman he loves. I think I'm going to go with this one first for my read. I haven't decided 100%, but that's what I'm leaning at this moment. Last historical fiction. How long have we been recording? Okay, we're getting there. All right. The next is The Last Garden in England. This was the other book that we voted on for our book club for June. It was not selected, but I do think this one looks really interesting. I would have been happy if we picked this one as well. I have not really explored too many split timeline sort of books. So this is set in present day, 1907 and 1944. So we will see if I maybe get to this one over the next few months. I think it would be perfect for a summertime read, and the cover is stunning. Whew, we made it to the end of the mix all category and the historical fiction. Now we are going to dive into, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books in the sort of historical romance, or not historical romance, contemporary romance / rom-com sort of books. These are my relaxation books. I don't like to call them guilty pleasures because I have no guilt. It just helps me to relax. I'm not a TV watcher. I am a reader, so I grab these. They help my brain to just shut off from the outside world and enjoy a story, get lost in it, unwind at the end of the day. I'd like to enjoy them at the beginning of the day with a cup of coffee. Yeah, I just love them. I love romance. So I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but with my library system that I live in here, we also have no late fees, and you can renew a book up to 10 times as long as there's not like a huge wait list of people waiting for it. So I could have these books here on my special little library shelf for even a few months at a time before I get to them. So that's why I have, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, you have so many books, that's why I have so many books, because I can keep them for quite a bit of length of time. All right, first up is The Roughest Draft. I did grab this one a little bit because one of our prompts for our June reading challenge, which I will also leave in the description box down below, is a book with a pink cover. And I saw this and I thought, oh, that falls in perfectly. And it looks like a great summer read. So the premise on this one, I believe, is there is a couple, maybe they have a previous history. that were co-writing books, and something happened. They are clearly not together in any sense anymore, and they have one book left to complete for their contract. So they are brought back together. They are trying to work out their book. They are in proximity, and I am going to guess that they will fall in love at some point during this book. So, all right, next is I have two books from this author, Olivia Dade. Dad, let me know how to pronounce that correctly if you know down in the comments. But we have Spoiler Alert and Shipwrecked. I have seen a lot about her books and how amazing they are, and have not read them yet myself. So I went ahead and requested two, and those two came in. This one I was sold by the name. Look how adorable this is. Pride and Puppies, and it says the top line is covered over. But something about Dr. Charlotte and her love of Jane Austen. She made brooding, aloof men sound oh so dreamy. After years of failing to find her own Mr. Darcy, Charlotte decides to swear off dating. And then Small Town. As they spend puppy playdates filled with laughter together, they feel an undeniable attraction, but will take one last chance with their heart before they miss out on a happily ever after. So it's like the perfect little book to just bring on you with for vacation, sit at the beach, read this on a sunny afternoon. We will see how it goes. And look at how adorable those puppies on the cover are. So cute. All right, next we have With You Forever. I do have one complaint about the library. They always put the stickers like right over where you need to read. But I can see it says slow burn somewhere on there. And it's a Grumpy Sunshine, sort of. I believe this is a Marriage of Convenience. Yes. And that's about all I know about this one. And it's purple cover, which is really cool. You don't often see purple too much. All right, next we have the book Proposal. It's What Writers Do. It says, broken up with, broke, and a vicious case of writer's block. Romance writer Gracie Landing is a hot mess. And it says she has deadlines looming, and she's checking her account and it's dwindling. Gracie has no idea that borrowing Colin's story could wreak havoc on her life, her career, and her own chance at happily ever after. This one I've had for a little while. I'm not sure if I should maybe just return it and revisit it again at another time. It's there. We'll see if I grab it. Emily Henry. I just read my first Emily Henry book. So I had requested these like months and months ago, and there's such a long wait list, but I kept seeing Emily Henry mentioned everywhere. And so I was like, I need to read whatever books and see what they're like. And so I ended up for my birthday treating myself to her book, Book Lovers. I bought it, and within about 2 hours of getting home, I got the text from the library saying that it had been shipped to my library and it was coming soon. So I didn't need that anymore, but I did go ahead and keep Funny Story, which came in on hold. I loved Book Lovers, so I'm really excited to read this one as well. I think it's rapidly moving up the list because I did enjoy Book Lovers so much. Nora Goes Off Script. I randomly saw this somewhere. It sounded really good, and so I grabbed it. She is a romance screenwriter, I believe. Her husband leaves her and her kids, and she is working on the movie being made and falls in love with the hero, I believe, that is playing her ex. So it just seemed like a fun premise. We will check that one out. All right, do you ever have a connection to a book from something in your real life and it makes you want to read the book? I saw this one. I think it was listed as a staff pick at my library, and it is a lawyer kind of romance, which I had never read before, but it says that one of them has to move to Michigan, and that is the state that I am from. It is home to me, and so I had never seen a romance set in Michigan, and it made me want to check this one out. We're getting close to the end. Trying to go through these as quickly as possible. But next is Meet Me in the Margins. Um, as you can tell, I clearly have a theme. I love reading romances that somehow have books or editors or literary agents or bookshops or readers, anything to do with book things. So this one, I believe that it's a editor sort of relationship that they're going back and forth on. It says she's falling for her mystery editor. If only she knew who he was. Do you think she'll find out? I have high hopes that she does. All right, and then last but not least, we have the proposal. This I've seen the wedding date mentioned too. I have not read that one, but this one seemed kind of fun because I'm not a sports fan at all, but summer baseball, it seemed like a good time to read this one. And that is about all I know. That it's baseball, and it seemed like a summer thing to read, and it caught my eye. So there you have it. That is everything that I have checked out right now from my library. Tales made it through the video. We will see what I get to. If you would like to join a community of readers as well and see what other people are reading, if you find that interesting, I know I love getting recommendations from other people. Again, I'll leave a link below. Check out our Patreon community. We have live stream events going on if you want to check out our social media as well for the Jane Austen Literacy Foundation. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I know that was quite a video to get through. If you love your library, let me know. If you have any tips for using the library, getting the most out of it, let me know that as well. If you have a moment and you can hit that subscribe button, that really helps to let other people know that there's content on our channel that they also might want to see if they're readers. Click the like button, subscribe, all the things, and I will see you in the next one. Take care and happy reading.